From the swamp to the stars, it is time for us to take a look at little Timmy Senor and the UFO report.
Nobody's gonna know.
They're gonna know.
Our resident Timbit, how you doing there, Tim?
You know what? I'm actually doing really well tonight. How about yourself?
You know what? I've been feeling really, really good this week. You know why? Do you know why?
I have a feeling it has to do with aliens.
It might have to do with aliens. Our resident random guy who has been harassing us for the last few months about ET contact. Well, he finally got some aliens himself.
That's right.
He's got aliens. You know how good that makes me feel?
Redemption.
I now know, as a Canadian and as a kid who played hockey, I always wanted to know what it was like to raise the Stanley Cup. This is what it must feel like. That's all I'm saying. This is what it must feel like. It feels damn good, man.
Yeah.
Feels really good.
Definitely a win for the Woo team. Having RG on our side helps, at least for him to have an understanding about what we're talking about and maybe some of the urgency and some of the realities that people experience. He may try to put it in a box and whatever and call it a dream. And that's fine. At some point, he may consider some other. I know behind closed doors, he's already considered the other aspect, but it was great to watch him come around so quickly. You brought that to him. I don't know. That was more of your Dave Wu magic. I don't know. Just keep it aimed at other people. I'm good. I'm good.
Oh, you're next.
No, I'm good. I don't need that kind of thing. I would really, I couldn't, you wouldn't see me on your show. If that happens, you won't see me on your show anymore. I'll just be like putting myself in a little padded cell somewhere.
Are you afraid of aliens?
Well, I mean, that's a big question. I don't like to put it into that kind of terms. I'm not a fan. I'm not looking for that kind of experience. Like, I don't want to meet an ET or anything like that. I'm more interested in the nuts and bolts aspect and being able to kind of find some evidence of that and being able to prove that reality. I'm good on the Woo. I'm sure, it exists. It's just nothing I'd ever be able to prove, right? So I'm looking to be able to prove it. I don't need to meet ET, Dave. Thank you. I'm good.
We're going to, you know what? We're going to put our thoughts and prayers towards you here.
Yeah. I don't need it. I'm good.
No. Don't be that way.
Because we're just going to thumb this in very gently. You're going to just relax and no, I'm good, man. It's cool.
It's all good. It's all good. You'll get something. Don't worry.
I'll wear my Apple Watch in defense. I hear they don't take you if you've got your Apple Watch on.
Oh, they take you. It's just the Apple Watch now records it.
I know. I'm just joking.
I want to get into a couple of big stories that happened this week, courtesy of a very good friend of this show, Matt Ford, and his YouTube channel, which is the Good Trouble podcast. All right. Matt is the Good Trouble show, pardon me.
There it is.
With Matt Ford. Okay. And Matt is he's a guy who, who started his show very politically. Okay. But he seems to, over the last few weeks and months, really gotten into the UFO story. And we interviewed Matt a couple of months ago, and he basically said that he is, very fascinated. And, if you look at the politics of Matt, he is from California. He's quite democratic. And he has stated that, on his show, a lot more Democrats don't seem to either get or care for the UFO story. That's what he told us on our show here. So he has, because he has gathered a very strong interest in this topic, he's trying to educate his audience regarding the UFO story. And I think it's brilliant. Politics aside, doesn't matter. I don't care what side of the ledger you sit on. The fact is, education of this topic is very good. And this week, he's had a couple of power shows coming up. And one of the ones I want to start with is with Gary Nolan. Dr. Gary Nolan of Stanford University was interviewed by Matt earlier this week. And one of the topics that hit, and it's really, really short, okay, but one of the topics that hit from that was the fact that both Gary Nolan and others who are involved in this story of extraterrestrials seem to believe that within the next 6 months, there could be some serious knowledge coming out about non-human intelligence, NHI, aliens, like random guys aliens. What's your thoughts on this, Tim?
On the preparation, I think that it's very interesting. I'm definitely willing to bet that that is coming soon. I've also heard, Ross Coulthart recently spoke, and he believes that there's going to be another hearing before one of the House committees, probably the Oversight Committee or maybe the House Services Committee, come the 13th of June. So coming up pretty soon. And in that, that would be something that was behind closed doors. And that would be where some of the whistleblowers were able to discuss some of these harder to talk about topics, and perhaps share data that normally wouldn't be able to be shared publicly. And so we're starting to hear some of the topics that could potentially be brought forward. We know also that potentially Eric Davis was approached, at least, to be a whistleblower. I don't think much of a response came. I think maybe he just asked for them to talk to his lawyer to get his position on that. But don't quote me on that. That might be a rumor. I don't know where I heard it, but I think that's kind of the position there. But it is interesting to see that also things like Havana syndrome could be brought to light, and some cases, medical cases related to UAP and specifics could be brought to light. So yeah, I see quite a lot coming forward. And the fact that they're bringing the term NHI into our new parlance is absolutely fine. I think that non-human is a great description. So why not, make that the new term for an entity, right? Isn't that more what it is? The NHI is non-human intelligence, inferring some kind of being or intelligence, right? So I think these are massive strides, and I do see it coming quickly.
Okay, so the idea that this is going to actually be some sort of true disclosure by fall, there's a lot of hurdles that seem to have to go into this. Okay, I mean, Gary Nolan is a smart guy. He has his own laboratory named after him at Stanford University. You don't get a job with an elite school like Stanford, being a dummy on subjects. And also, Dr. Nolan has come out publicly as an experiencer of the phenomena as well. And over the years, he has been testing the brains of said experiencers to see what type of effects UFOs or alien contact have had on people. And I don't know if it's going to actually happen, But these are some incredibly bold words right now, Tim, that we are hearing, that in 6 months we could be learning that aliens are actually visiting this planet or are here right now. We may not find out where they're coming from, but this just opens up a whole new ball game for humanity. And it's a topic that we have said on this show a number of times, where I don't think that this world is ready for any type of extraterrestrial contact. And we've gone over everything about that. How do you feel about this?
Oh, I definitely feel like we're ready for whatever truth it is. Whatever the truth is on the extraterrestrial visiting the Earth, whatever that is, we should definitely get the truth. And the fact that they're hiding it or potentially hiding whatever truth there is incredibly frustrating. Now, do I believe that that's what's happening? I kind of don't. I don't think they really know. And so they may be searching out from people in the know whether it's really happening, whether it's demonstratable and provable and all these sorts of things. But, um, consider the fact that I'm not sure when, but recently, General John Olson, the chief of Space Operations Mobilization Assistant to U.S. Space Force, came out and made a statement recently about UFOs and whether they're visiting the planet. And I thought that his statement and his position that he made publicly was massive. And if you're okay with it, I can kind of give you the quote.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so the moderator asks the final question, Major General Olson, what do you think about the unidentified aerial phenomenon, UAP and UFOs? And Major General Olson replies, well, this is a very hot topic, and I appreciate the question. I know admittedly on the Unidentified Aerial Phenomenon Task Force is quite a mouthful in an acronym. And he says, I've gotten that question a couple other times. So skimming down and briefly getting to the point here, he says, quite frankly, having flown 83 different airplanes and had lots of hours, we've all seen lots of unexplainable elements. And the cosmos, the space realm, is so large. If we look at the Earth, it is a tiny blue dot in an unlimited, almost incomprehensibly large cosmos. I personally believe that there absolutely, from a probability perspective, is life out there. And so he goes on to talk about how, bringing the task force and the government's approach to systematically investigating and understanding these phenomenon, because, of course, unidentified elements present a national security concern and present a safety of flight, present a risk that we must take and diligently pursue. So he does go on to put that it's actually more broadly put, and that is we will continue this effort. And in fact, I believe that we will be getting more funding and more of a structural support level within the department. And so he is obviously getting into some details here about the interagency task force and some of the efforts that are being made there. But he's also talks further about the solar system and our probes to the moon, and that we have gone in peace to explore and discover. And he says that we continue that yearning to see and discover, is there life out there, and what does that meaning mean for humanity? And the moderator goes on to further probe, but I found that an absolutely perfect answer. And so if that is the true feeling of somebody in that position, I feel pretty good about having him as a decision maker. What are your thoughts, Dave, hearing that?
Well, it all does come down to budget, and that also ties in to our second topic of the night, which we will get to after the break, which is Matt Ford breaking the news that April 19th there is going to be, looks like, new hearings in Washington, D.C. regarding the Arrow program and the study of UFOs and what's going on. and we will get into that momentarily. But you know what? I I don't believe you when you say that we are ready. I believe the UFO community is ready for the most part. The mainstream public that is more worried about soy lattes and wokeness and anti-wokeness and fighting wars and everything like that, their bank accounts, whatever, I don't think they're ready. I look at people all around me. There's a lot of people who are, they may believe that there are aliens out there, but that's way out there, Tim. That's way out there. Coming here, different story. And I think it could cause a whole rash of problems that we are not ready for. I really don't believe that.
We may have to agree to disagree on this, simply because I see people's deep interest in it. I see a lot of open-minded people. Even some older generation people are warming up to it when their favorite newspaper has it in their headlines. And the fact is that now we're starting to talk about exoplanets, and NASA is really pushing for our move back to the moon, reinvigorating people's interest in space and getting out of our heliosphere. So to be completely honest with you, I think that they would be ready for that. Now, I feel that we've also been slightly prepared with the fact that we've been insinuating that we may be able to find evidence of interstellar life right here by looking at meteoric rocks.
Well, I'm going to end this as we go to break here with this saying. About 11 minutes ago, you stated you never wanted to meet an alien. You don't want to meet an alien. But at the same time, you're saying you think we're ready for aliens. We'll continue that debate. Tim Cedar and the UFO Report when we return on Spaced Out Radio. All right, we're clear.
Fun show.
It's a nice shirt you got on today.
It's new. There you go. It's actually a bunch of old shirts sewn together to make a new shirt. It's a recycled shirt. I'm such a green person. Recycling. Look at that. It's not for everyone, I'm sure, but it sure is comfortable.
That's awesome. That is awesome.
Tony's right.
Oh, yeah. Ready or not, we're all going to get aliens. I'm going to bite my tongue here for a second because I hate talking topic during the break.
Right.
Because it...
Yeah, I get it.
Hey, don't blame me, random gee. Don't blame me.
Take notes.
No more blaming me. I'm out.
I just love the specifics, the F and the U, Dave.
Oh, yeah.
That is probably my favorite part of the story.
Mm-hmm.
He confused his aliens.
McFab, laser, and powder. I know I met Tim in Oregon at some point.
Who's saying this? Someone might have.
McFab, laser, and powder in the chat room. Welcome to our chat room. By the way, it is that time of the night, Tim, where we say hello to all the agents and alphabet agencies tuning us on in for Spaced Out Radio tonight. Give us a call sometime. We don't need to give you our numbers because you already have them. Please remember, both Tim and I can be bought. We can be bought. Yep, we can be bought. Evan Walters, you're pissing me off too. Big time.
Keep it up, Evan.
Exactly.
Poking the bear. Yeehaw. It is fun. He's so pokeable. He's like the Pillsbury Dough Bear.
Yep. Joey Zed, what's happening? Stu Gerson, how are you?
To all my friends with a hook for a hand, how are you?
That's funny.
That was a pirate joke.
That's a funny pirate joke.
Sorry. I went with it.
I didn't know you could be funny.
I make it up as I go, my friend. That's why it's hit or miss. It's hit or miss.
Love it.
I think most of my humor is for like 10 and under. It's like to get my kids to laugh, you know. The old ones have learned I'm not funny at all. I get the eye rolls a lot.
You tell a lot of dad jokes, don't you?
I mean, I'm a dad and I do tell jokes, so you do the math. Yeah, probably. I mean, I don't have a book or anything that I refer to. Yeah, they're bad.
Mm-hmm.
Terry Hall knows there's a place called Infinity in downtown Salem, the Infinity Club. It's stand-up. And I have done a couple of 10-minute bits. And it's all about baldness, showering, and my wife and kids, you know. And so I never tell anyone that I'm going to go. I just show up. But Terry Hall is like, I'm just going to be in the audience one day. And I'm like, oh, it's going to really throw me off. And that is not dad jokes. None of those are dad jokes. I've gotten some approval. Some are not family approved. So, yeah.
We got 30 seconds. Thank you to W. David Page, Louis ×2, Mark, Greg, and Vaughn, along with Sweet Donnie Cho and Thomas ×2 for the amazing super chats. Very much appreciate the love and support. Don't forget, you can go get your SOR swag at spacedoutradio.com. You have until tomorrow night to get your VIP tickets for the SOR fan party where little Timmy Senor is going to be there. Here we go, everyone. We rounded third. We're heading for home tonight on Spaced Out Radio. My name is Dave Scott. Very much appreciate earning your listening ears. Reminder to all of you that if you missed most of this show or others, check out our free archives by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do old Davey the favor. Hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read the news wire, check out our swag as well. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on TikTok at Spaced Out Radio. Here we go. We continue on with little Timmy Senor and the UFO report. The big question that we are debating, discussing, is humanity ready for extraterrestrial contact? Tim seems to believe so. I think he is being naive. Tim, welcome back.
Thanks for having me.
You don't seem happy about this debate. Are you not happy tonight?
Well, I see that I've created a conundrum for myself because I am very much for the truth. And if they're here, I want to know. But do I want to have kind of the quote unquote abduction experience? No, I don't. Now, if my neighbor was an alien this whole time and I just didn't know, great. Great. I'm cool with meeting an alien. But typically, I think that it's not there. I don't think it's like that. More than likely, it's like what happened to Random Gee here. And I mean, I'm open to it. And I mean, I'm very clear about the portion of this that I'm interested in is the nuts and bolts and being able to prove it and coming back with data and things like that. Now, that's not the same conversation as meeting an entity or a being of some sort. Those are two totally different things.
Well, let me ask you this,
Yeah.
okay? Because I think this is going to be an interesting part of the conversation.
Okay.
Why do you believe that 8 billion people on this earth, some of which are still partying like it's 14.99, okay? Why do you believe that humanity is ready for the second largest story in the history, the first being Jesus Christ himself coming back from the heavens, second being alien contact? Why do you believe that humanity is ready?
Oh, I mean, based on that, I would have to go just on the fact that it's now or never. I mean, there's no point I think that we could draw historically where we'd be like, "Oh, we were ready then." Like, at what point do you think that our society as a whole or our planet as a whole is going to be ready? This, when you try to introduce anything new, it gets really scrutinized by the planet, whether it's a religious concept or any scientific concept or anything. Remember what happened with, Galileo, right? Just to use that as an example. But the point is that you have to just draw a line at some point, and it is kind of a now or never, because we are at a turning point where if the government continues to lie about whatever the truth is, people are going to lose faith in the government. And at this point, it's so publicly being asked of them that they're kind of having to come up with something. And they're very quickly being cornered into the truth, whatever that is. And so I think one way or another, maybe only half of us really are as a world ready for the fact that there's aliens here already. Um, the other half will come around, right? As everything does, life continues on. And especially if you give within that knowledge that they've been here for a long time and there's no ill intent, I think that message would come over a lot clearer and better. And the fact is that, it's hard to find because of where it resides, potentially at the bottom of the ocean or up beyond 60,000 feet, or in a light dimension that we can't see with our naked eye, whatever that is. Obviously, it's been here for a while. If it wanted to mess with us, it could. Not saying it hasn't, right? But to whatever extent. Yeah, I think, we could have done it with Eisenhower, and perhaps it was attempted, and, anyone can make these arguments, but I don't feel like as a whole the society's ever going to be 100% ready, and it never has been. It probably never will be. But you have to draw a line at some point and just be like, we're as ready as we'll ever be, and I feel like that is now. And simply because our media has primed us, we've had 20 years of really good film that has prepared us for this topic. However they come to us, it's going to be something that we will come around to.
Okay. I think you made some good points. I really do. Now, if you don't mind me countering,
Please.
okay. 20 years of movies have seen everything about us shooting at extraterrestrials and defeating them to protect our planet, which has really helped post a portrait that aliens coming down are evil. We have people like Tom DeLonge coming down and saying all aliens are bad, where in the meantime, right before he went public with his To the Stars Academy, he tried to buy the free experiencers statistics that show that 84% of all people who've had ET interaction have had positive experiences and would like those interactions to continue up to 90%. So we have a lot of wrong and falsehoods about this. DeLong going on Joe Rogan and saying we got to put nuclear weapons up in space so that way we can shoot the aliens down because they are afraid of our nuclear weapons. You kidding me? If you can travel through wormholes to get here from whatever solar system you're in or universe you're in, do you really think they're going to be worried about our primitive nukes? I don't think so. Here's the other part: religion. Whether, North America over the last 30 years, especially, has become extremely agnostic and or atheist. However, we get off of this part of the rock, we go to the rest of the world, there is still the majority of this planet that believes in religion, one way or another. And almost every religion has in common one thing: that anything that comes from the sky is evil and darkness awaits. How are they going to react to all of a sudden saying aliens are here? How are the stock markets going to react when all of a sudden people are panicking? Remember, Lou Elizondo stated on this show that during COVID, the government and the agencies involved and the people involved with this subject were actually paying attention to how people would react during a mass pandemic and or mass world problem, which COVID was. And what did we do? We stole toilet paper for no reason, even though there was never a shortage. There was never a shortage of meat. Yet people were going to the store buying, $1,000, $2,000, $3,000 worth of meat. People were jumping or buying out hand sanitizer and then selling those little mini hand bottles for up to $75 to $100 a piece on Amazon before they got shut down. Milk. People were buying 10, 12 gallons of milk at a time when they knew they would never drink it all and majority would go bad. People were hoarding medicine where people who had real problems could not get their medication to help them stay healthy. That was a big, big red flag. What's going to happen with aliens? Okay. Now, where I agree with you, where I see the alien disclosure coming out, is this. I think what happens is in 6 months' time, they do not admit that aliens are here, if that actually happens. But I think what's going to happen is they're going to say, we have picked up a signal from a far-off galaxy that shows the potential of extraterrestrial life. We have found a potential life form somewhere else. It's the most politically correct way to do it without having to get into the UFO and alien game here. Your thoughts?
Oh, yeah. I definitely think they'll admit to life off planet before they admit to alien life here. I see that absolutely. And they're going to do it on Mars. So that is going to be one way to ease the public into it. But you're absolutely right. It's not going to be easy for everyone. And you'll have deniers across the board. But you did bring up Tom DeLonge, and Tiny Klaus had a recent tweet from him and a quote. If you're cool with it, I'll read it.
Yeah, please do.
So Tom DeLonge on the UFO phenomenon saying it has a hive mind, right? So in the quote, it says, the UFO phenomenon has a hive mind. These creatures, they potentially don't have souls. They are like clones, and they worship their own technology to some degree. They feed off fear and negativity. The one thing they cannot stand is the frequency of elevated human consciousness. So what's the best way to keep us from elevating our consciousness? You crash a craft, the transistor pops up, then you get video games and iPhones and all these things. You walk around like a cyborg, a soulless little hive mind, all getting direction from devices. From Tom DeLonge. Pretty dark. I think he's been watching The Matrix.
Well, don't forget that Tom DeLonge only listens to one ufologist, and that is Peter Levenda, who comes at this from a very, very negative standpoint. Okay, I'm not saying that Peter Levenda is not a great researcher. He's been in the field a long time, and this is what his studies show. Tom DeLonge has lapped it up like a puppy dog.
Yeah.
And it comes back to the point, Tim, of this. Tom DeLonge has never answered the question. And I have asked him this on Twitter because he's never accepted an interview request from us. But I've asked him on Twitter and a couple of times, and he is denied the question. If the extraterrestrials are that evil, why did he try to buy up the free experiencers statistics, which prove otherwise? Now, I'm not saying, Tim, that every extraterrestrial species is good, has our best interest in mind, okay, has the power to bring humanity up to another level where we're not dying from cancer, where we're not having children blind or missing limbs, or we are given a 3, 4, 5, 600 year lifespan. Okay. That's what I would like. I could go another 3, 400 years for sure. Okay. But the point that I'm
Yes,
getting
please.
at it, but the point that I'm getting at is this: not every human being is good. All right. We have serial killers. We have people who torture children, enslave people. Look at a certain island that a certain dead guy used to own that would bring young ladies there and very famous people.
Not
This
Jurassic Park.
definitely not Jurassic Park.
Okay.
Okay. But you get into, there's a lot of bad people out there, man. Okay. This world is not made of good people.
Yeah.
Okay. Look at the regime in North Korea.
Yeah. No, I agree. But I think to bring in this dystopia society concept just because of aliens, to address the fact, so dystopia meaning that kind of post-apocalyptic, very drastic, very, subhuman existence insinuated by the addition of aliens to humanity. I think that that proposes a very dark outlook, and we have no evidence that that is potentially what would happen, and so it's hard to listen to. But to be honest, when it comes to a dystopia society, I would address that connection more to AI possibilities than the alien connection, because it doesn't seem like aliens have ill intent to humans. However, we've designed AI to be better than us. That's the reason we have it. So if it's addressing the fact that it's going to be outdoing humans, at some point it's going to realize it doesn't need us anymore. And so the fact that we're trying to put this boundary on it, I think, is laughable. But that's a whole nother topic. But just the dystopia concept for alien intermingling with humanity, I found that to be a very dark outlook. Do you agree? Or, how do you feel?
I feel that, we can't judge a book by one person's cover. All right. And look, I am somebody who has had good contact, bad contact, and horrific contact. Okay. I didn't like the horrific one. All right. Did not like that at all. The bad contact, well, I don't know much about that. The good contact, I'd take it every day. Every day. And we don't know what's out there. We don't know what's coming this way. And that is one of the dangers that we have. But to sit there and say that humanity is ready, I don't think so. I don't think so at all. And, I don't want to be a pessimist on it, but many people right now are scared of their own shadow. Let alone a little gray dude coming into their house, standing at their feet and saying, "Hey, dude, what's going on?"
Right. Dave, consider the fact that we are seeing this elevation in the media, elevation on pressure in the government to make decisions, and it's becoming very topical. And we're pretty much, you can't go anywhere without somebody having something to say on it and have an opinion on it. Um, do you not see that potentially as being maybe up to, and I'm not going to call it the phenomenon, let's just call it whatever it is at this point. It's up to whoever that is, the other entity or whatever it is that's creating this movement, that we're seeing. Wouldn't you think that this is more on their timeline and that we're just running behind it, trying to play catch up? So whether or not we're ready, it's coming, sort of thing, like kicking and screaming. The government obviously is going into this kicking and screaming, but the public is looking for the truth. Meanwhile, the timeline is up to none of us because it's ramping itself up. We're seeing more and more evidence potentially, and meanwhile, the military is covering it up as quickly as they can.
There are too many questions that need to be answered publicly before any sort of ET contact happens. Why now is the biggest one. Why after 7 years? And I don't give credit to the Stars Academy that they brought this topic to the government. Okay. Yes, they brought many topics to the government. Lou Elizondo and Chris Mellon need to be rewarded and given good handshakes for that. Okay. I'm not trying to sound negative, but there was no need for this topic to come out. It hasn't come out in 60, 70 years. There was no need to all of a sudden give the tinfoil hatters credence that they were right. Like I've said before, and I will state it again, there are only two answers to why now that I can find. Number one, it's an alien false flag. If you want to talk real tinfoil, that's what Dr. Stephen Greer believes. Or B, which I believe, contact was made and they, whoever they are, gave the dates of when they are coming. And if it's 35 years from now, you need to start preparing now. And the generation of religious people and older people who are afraid of their own shadow will die off. And the younger generation, which is open more spiritually, open more psychically, open more intuitively, and generally is less judgmental, they will be ready for it. Your kids will be ready for it. My kids will be ready for it. My grandson will be ready for it. Many grandchildren will be ready for it. Our age and up, they don't care about us. We're the alien boomers.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think you're probably right there. You really sewed that up perfectly well. I would like to think that whatever does happen, it rolls out in a really positive way. I don't like the fact that typically we're a shoot first, ask questions after society. That doesn't bode well for first contact. But Dave, just very quickly, I know we're getting a little limited on time, but when do you feel like first contact was made? If you were to have a guess and to look at media, do you think it was recent, like around the time that they started to put the theologians together and ask them how they would react? Do you think it was around that time, or do you think it was a long time ago with Eisenhower?
I don't
Thoughts? Pose a guess. Pose a guess, just to educate it.
I would say if Eisenhower actually met extraterrestrials at Holloman Air Force Base, I think that's where it began. I think that's where the abduction numbers began, which coincide with the FBI's missing people numbers. Okay. I think it began then. And I think a deal was made. And I think a timeline has been set. And on that note, little Timmy Senor, we are going to have to say goodnight on this great show tonight. We got Mr. Ron Bumblefoot THAL, rocking in the background with Little Brother is Watching. Bumblefoot is the official music of Spaced Out Radio, rocking us in and out of every single show. Get your horns up for the guitar god himself. Special thanks to everybody listening in at home, at work, in your cars, wherever you may be. Thank you to everyone in our chat rooms tonight. YouTube, Twitch, LGAP, Facebook, Spreaker, the Space Travelers Club, LinkedIn, and on Twitter at hashtag Spaced Out Radio. I know you're out there somewhere. Remember, this show is copyright by Spaced Out Radio and SOR Media Ventures Limited. Thank you so much for choosing to share your evening with us. Because together, my friends, we're watching. We own the night. Mr. Bumblefoot, we need a favor. We need you to take us home. Yes, the Woo train has docked for the night. Soon, my friends, we shall ride again. Your seats are always available. Your tickets never expire. And if you want to bring a friend, we got room for them too. Good night.